Okay. So Freeman made an interesting video about rating books and things like that in Goodreads. So thought I might add to such discussion. First of all, it's clear that editions in Goodreads, just like in Amazon, is an afterthought. I say Amazon because if I review a work in Amazon, I review it for all editions and not to particular edition, and it's indistinguishable from each edition that being reviewed. So the same thing is on Goodreads. Like it mentions that it's a different edition, but it doesn't really give a lot more about it in terms of rating. The, the rating itself of books, especially, seems to be superficial in its core. Like it's not really the fact I give something 3 stars doesn't mean much to what I get from it. I might, some article, for example, I read more than non-prose books, non-fiction. So, I mean, I can enjoy an article in terms of content, but really not enjoy it in terms of reading and how much I needed to struggle to get from it something, or how much the struggle compared to the article itself was worth it. Uh, so, I mean, it's not really clear that it's not really clear what the rating would refer to in general in such cases. Like, I mean, it's just pointing out how much it seems to be more general and work more with fiction, that you note how much you enjoyed the particular author, namely some you get some some light novels or things like that, how much you enjoyed them. But light novel, the young adult books in American world. But it's how much you enjoy a young adult series, and you can review it not based on edition. So it's pretty much not aimed towards that, the whole system. But even in young adult books, it doesn't seem to really work. Like 1 out of 5 tend to blend a lot of ranks of mediocrity toward to 3, and like it's become 3 become some it was indifferent, and the 4 is I enjoyed it to some capacity more than other books, and 5 it's like really enjoyed it. Like there is no gradient in it or much thought. And on the worst side, if it was 1 out of 10 ranking, it would be mainly 7 because people are afraid of giving low score for books or whatever they rank, because they acknowledge the amount of effort that there is to them. So I mean, perhaps the better thing is it's not to think about it that much or ignore the system altogether. I mean, sure you can rank, but it's even while ranking, it doesn't add a lot to what's being said. And thanks to giving, I wish that there was a better place to give a review about such things. But right now there isn't, so I guess there is the update progress thing that you can do. Perhaps moving to a written form would be more helpful in such thing. Like another thing on ranking. Let's say I give a ranking of 2 to a book. It doesn't mean that it's not to be read, or even 1. It means that I personally didn't enjoy it, but books in in the external sense that Goodreads use is not is it's more appropriate to say that it's good if as long as you like or as long as you search for something else. So for example, if you liked X, you would like this or thing like that. Um, so the f- the thing that more we the thing that I do think that Goodreads is useful to it's to create a discussion though. So I mean it have this usage at the very least. Not that I'm more active at that, but at least it allow a ground to the discussion, which I think it's the main worth of it. Um, but yeah, it scoring in most score ranking in such sites in general, it's really superficial, and in this particular case, it's really not. It's really an afterthought because books really work in not in the same sense, especially what you call historical book or books with critical apparatus. Mm, I mean, technically every book is historical book, so some length, so it's not really that. But I mean, it's not really meant to nonfiction or to particular editions. You have the option, and the option is nice, but it's a bit annoying for example, it is thing that you can say that the system is not aimed for. Books editions are generally made in any good library at least would catalog them by volumes and by the original title would be in the original title language. But Goodreads is an international site, so it's aimed toward English speaking people. I often find myself as someone who don't read in English mainly or English releases need to do double. If people would know what I write about, I have hard time to really categorizing that to both audience. Like now I'm reading Kreska's Sermon of the Passover. Um, it's called in Hebrew originally. Originally, I don't think that you can find it in English that easily. You sort of can, but it's you wouldn't find you wouldn't find the good you wouldn't find it easily to buy because the release is in Hebrew. So I mean, it's clearly an afterthought being done there that being that that's really working toward this at the very least. Um, I also guess like there's a thing with I've not it's off topic, but there's a thing with critical edition that at some point you don't find the use of it. It's become more hard when I think about it. Like it's not just that there is no uh, rank or not. I have the critical edition of Utopia, and it's really hard to get rid. Uh, when you read it, you have so much external info that is not really important. That it's like unlike the earlier critical edition, the new edition for 64 tend to show it in a bigger context that it's not the immediate context also like mo- like it cite things from the 17th century and 16th century, mid 16th century, and things like that. And you find yourself on rabbit trails and things like that really easily, at least to me. So they can be useful. I mean, to me, I don't. I prefer the older edition because of that. That you read that I read simultaneously. I first read the older edition, both because of it's the Middle English translation that was contemporary to the translation, as well as it's more on point in terms of notation. It's a bit it's a bit worse off like I mean the way I rank it here, it's not really it's very complex. Like it's useful in so far as it's more it's giving a more adequate lens of the immediate context, and it have more on point notation, but it doesn't have as much as as vast critical apparatus as the 64 edition. So like if I would think about ranking it, it would be really weird, like where to place each thing. Like it's not a hmm. But yeah, good food for thought, I guess.